Hello everyone, it's Rebecca E. Parsons, and we are back for another background in our book of notes, Journal the Word. Today we're going to have some fun. I've been taking it easy on you for the last few backgrounds, and this one is going to be just as simple and just as easy, but you do need a special tool called a brayer. And I just happened to get this one over the weekend. It's a new one for me, and it's kind of a tool, I believe, where it was invented was in the letterpress world. A lot of these were made by Speedball. The first one I had was made by Speedball, which is a lettering company that makes inks. And it was made to apply the ink to a letterpress before it was placed on the paper, if that makes sense. But I think that's where its origins are. And this is a couple of them these are a couple that were made by Mod Podge. And this one even has a nifty little flat surface that you can scrape the paint on with. But today we are going to roll paint on, and I think we're going to use some pinks and oranges and maybe some gold if we feel like it. So again, when you've got your craft paints, it is a good idea to shake them up, and a lot of times I will put this on a palette or something and roll the paint on first, but this time I'm just going to drop it on the page and show you how easy this is. Just a little tiny bit of paint, and I'm going to use pink and orange today because, oh gosh, when I was a teenager, I had a pair of Pappagallo shoes, if anybody has heard of that brand, and they were pink and orange, and they were absolutely my favorite shoes ever. I love those darn things. So this is playing homage to those shoes from my teen years. I'm showing my age here, aren't I? Okay, so I've just splattered the paint on it in a couple of ways, and I'm going to roll this way, and then I'm going to roll this way, and I'm going to come over here and spread the paint around. The paint gets on your brayer, and you just have a couple of minutes here to spread it around, unless you put a whole glob on there. And so you don't need very much paint to make this beautiful, beautiful look. And I always keep some cards over on the side to go ahead and roll some of the paint off my brayer onto. And that makes a nice card for journaling. So that's a good side thing too, is to keep that on your page. So I am just going to talk a little bit about this for a couple of seconds and let this dry. The good thing about acrylics is they dry pretty quickly, so you can go over them again. If I went right over right now, the top color that I would put on would kind of blend down into these. And if you kept going with more layers and more layers and more layers and didn't let them dry, it would eventually all turn to mud, probably, depending on the colors that you choose. So there we are. We're about dry. I love that. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I am so enjoying that colorway. And I am just going to sprinkle a couple of drops. Whoops, that's a lot of drops. Right on my page. I'm going to take this on my finger and rub it on here. And you can see that the gold kind of turns transparent and you can see through it. So that's what's going to be fun when we do it on this page, because you're still going to be able to see those colors underneath there. That is quite a lot of gold, darn it. But we're just going to go with it, guys. That's what happened. So I'm just going to brayer this along. And brayer it on my card too. Ooh, I like that. Let me turn that over and do that again. There's a fun technique. That helps pull some of that gold off and reveal what's underneath there. I'm loving that. So I'm going to do that 2 or 3 times here and see if I can keep doing that. Ah, there we go. We have created something we didn't even intend to do. So it is one of those happy accident things that are so much fun, especially in this background world. Loving it, loving it, loving it, loving it. Let me hold this up for you all to see. Tilt it so you can see the metallic behind there. You can see the spots where the card was. It kind of gives it another color blocking look in there. And okay. So that's pretty good, and you can keep on layering and layering. You can put several layers on here if you like. But what I'm going to do is come back with a lighter pink, I think. Let's hold our breath. Let's make sure this is fairly dry. If you put your hand on here and it feels cold, with any kind of acrylic or water-based paint, that means it is still not fully cured. And of course, acrylics aren't going to cure completely for a few days, but we want it to be dry enough that we don't mix the colors. I don't want to mix my gold with whatever I'm going to do next, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So I am just going to come in here, and what I have found, if you put dots, you're going to have dots of color on your brayer. If you put a line, you're going to have lines of colors. So I'm just going to come in here with this, and I am going to kind of soften the whole thing back. That's kind of where I'm going. And let me get another card, because especially this area right in there has a whole lot of paint. And I'm pressing fairly hard on here right at the moment, because I want to pull some of that back. I want to see those layers. I don't want to just cover them up. Plus, I'm also removing the paint off of my brayer, so it's not so much to clean. And that works. You can see that works for just a couple of minutes. It doesn't work too very long, so you've got to move very fast if you want to lift paints off. So this isn't a slow process by any means. You have to keep yourself going. So that little area is bothering me a little bit right there. So I'm coming in with a dry paper towel and knocking that back just a tad. And maybe on this edge, knock some of it back. Again, this is a dry paper towel. If we got wet, we would be doing a whole different kind of look and feel there. And there I went way too far, guys, and tore my page. Darn it. But that just gives some extra texture, and there I'm starting some more. So I'm going to stop before I completely tear the whole darn thing up. I will glue that down and maybe do a little patch over that. Let me just do that on screen. Show you what I am going to do to fix that. I'm just going to put some glue stick on there and let that go back. Let me take this little edge on this sprayer and smooth it down. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of this light pink and just stick my finger in the top there and rub some on to kind of make that fade back in there. And do the same over here. And see, that's kind of hidden our boo-boo. Let me put a card down on that and brayer over it. And I think it did pretty good job. So there we go. That's today's fun finish. And I think you can see all the layers under there. You can see the orange and the darker pink fuchsia, but you can also see the gold peering out under there. And you can see the lightness of that light pink, kind of just giving us a nuance to the whole thing, kind of like settling the whole thing back. This is Rebecca E. Parsons, and I'm going to check out of here for today. And I hope you will enjoy reading the Word and journaling the Word in your book of notes. May joy be with you all.